Yeah, Namaskaram, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Corina ji, you finished your talk?
I believe yes. I don't know how much you understand me because there was noise, but it's okay.
I was not present. I missed it then.
Yes.
Okay. Good that I'm able to meet you here again.
Nice to meet you again.
So it's a new start for OXFAA University, Tamil Nadu, India. And I understand that Indonesia University is also part of this. It's a great topic, the notion of woman empowerment. Woman empowerment, there are two words. One is woman, second one is empowerment. Empowerment is basically authority and responsibility. And I'm sure it comes with the power, maybe the self-image in which you project yourself, the power of learning, the power of thinking. Power is with the woman. The traditional India had the belief that we have Gayatri and Devi Sankalpa, which are more powerful, which says Karagre Vasate Lakshmi, Karamadhye Saraswati, Karamule Sthita Gauri Prabhade Karadarshanam. The wealth, education, power. These are the three things which gives you the most powerful feelings in this world. Decision making power, freedom for movement, access to education. All this comes with the employment, exposure to the media, and also this can start from your own home. The 21st century is not 21st century. We are moving very fast. So I keep saying there is no point in talking about 21st century. We should talk about third decade of 21st century. 3, 2, 1 is the time going now. The global development goals cannot live or talk without digital divide. The gender divide, digitally divided. Education, experience, probably the poverty, the health, economy, family, everything is binded and related to the woman empowerment. How do you break this barrier? It is through three things. One is education, next is employment, it results in economy. If you look at the whole world, probably the gender gap is much higher in the Asian region and probably the North Africa when compared to the other part of the world. Digital literacy, you can see in terms of literacy also, if you can see the southwest corner of India where I am from, Kerala, stands the highest. Maybe the South India has got a little better advantage. When you go to the north, it becomes too less. Like Jammu Kashmir and all is too bad, and maybe Tripura is too bad. The gender divide is also like that. If you look at Assam is very good without much gender divide. Kerala is much less in the gender divide. Rest of the Indian part is too bad. Out of maybe 1400 million people in India, nearly 40 to 50%, maybe 700 million are women. 48%, little less. The 43% women versus the rest of the people who are 36% of these people are on WhatsApp. And what do they? The digital literacy, is it going to empower them is a big question to be asked. What do they send as messages? If you look at, it's all forwarded messages, good morning messages, some JPEG files. The older uneducated and most of the hateful comments and fake news being spread, these are one of the biggest disadvantage of being on digital when you are not educated. So the digital gives you a better advantage only when you get educated and professionally become qualified, not efficient. You need not be efficient enough, but you have to be professional. The woman employability in India has changed from last maybe 20 years, the 30 to 30% of women were working in 1980s. Now in 2020s, it has reduced by 10%. Whereas in the neighboring country like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, it is much higher than India, though they are GDP wise, they are very poor. Why is it happening? It is basically because the boys and girls, when you compare, the percentage of people who write 10th examination as per CBSE, girls percentage of pass is close to 90%, where boys are 75 to 80%. But they are not reaching to the higher education. That is because the financial empowerment to women are lacking, though we have a great bank account number which says many people have got bank account, but the freedom of operating bank in terms of saving and the money which they have is too less. So the World Economic Forum talks about the ITC career opportunities are the future for women, because most of the ladies are ready to work as teachers, and if you look at the whole world, ladies are more in academics than gents, and they have a good heart to take care of the children. But that empowerment is not happening because our digital literacy around the world is too less. I'm sure the fake marketing and fake universities, fake certification programs, all these have to go and then come with the quality of knowledge and education spreading. So how do we change this situation? The only possibility is to empower women, and that will happen only through an academic change which can happen with a high quality in education. The World Economic Forum, which talks about the empowerment of women, that benefits the society by women empowerment, giving personal knowledge, lot of self-defining systems, the personal power, take authority and creativity, the physical strength. Health is a big issue for people. Relationship with a lot of maturity, that need to be empowered. The economic independence, and then having political power in the society. The stages to women empowerment happens through, from the powerless, get into an initiation, participation, adoption, and leadership. The constraining factors for the women empowerment is heavy workload of women, isolation of women from each other. The unity doesn't happen because they are inside their homes. Illiteracy is one big problem. They are not able to communicate well with the rest of the world. The traditional views and the culture and the custom and the religious practices, different limiting participation is part of it. And there is no fund. The women need to have their own ability to handle their fund. If that ability is not given, I'm sure it is going to create a lot of troubles. The disagreements and conflict among the women groups is another big problem because unity is lacking. The structural adjustment and the politics, because the heart is very good, maybe the head is not tying to make them to work together. The sensation and the way in which the media projects such movements actually hampers the right of women. The rights are under the constitution, but when it comes to the practical, in case of family law, in case of religious bisections, the against violence and indecency, the maintenance are under other roles. There are a lot of NGOs working for empowerment, but it's not a very great pattern in which it has to work. The providing education is one of the probably solution for the women empowerment, so that they can get into self-employment. Self-help groups can be more active. like nutrition, health, sanitation, housing, all these can be taken care of when the education and the employment is guaranteed. So society need to change towards giving more employment, more education. But in digital world, how does it happen is a big question. Because the digital education comes only after the education. It needs a lot of sharing of knowledge in the right way to use technical knowledge. And that doesn't happen because those who are connected are in the high stratum of the society. The spiritual, political, social, educational, physical, economic, gender, community based activities has to go across all the societies so that the holistic approach for empowerment in terms of credit, skills, education, sanitation, political participation, everything will happen at a go as one. If you look at the political activities in which women are very active, though India has got a 50% or maybe more women than men in some of the states, if you look at the representation of the woman representation in the ruling political scenario is too less. How do you talk about creating a legislation which is not implementable in the society, because legislation is the second part. The first part is the political part. The vocational training, making people to work with high education, high professional ability into better jobs. Probably that can guarantee people getting into the public, and then the digital literacy can become an empowering factor along with the economic development and the family and the community impact which can create it. So how do we create that political scenario is one big question. Probably if you look at history, in the early or late 1800s is when New Zealand, probably that is where somebody can claim as the first self-governing country which granted voting power to women, not even USA. Though it is almost 246 years, 46 years in July 1st, July 4th, July 4th is where it is going to celebrate its democracy. It is only from 1776 to 1789, the democracy which was very active, 144 years or 100 years after that, probably the woman voting power has come into existence in America. Switzerland is 1848, which became the democratic country, but 1971 is when ladies were given the voting power. See, for example, India and Pakistan, 1947 August. 1950 when the democracy, the republic came into effect. The right to maintenance, right to equal pay, right to dignity and decency, right against domestic violence, right in the working place, the right against dowry, the free legal aid, all these are in the legal constitution part. But how do we make sure it happens? Only when women come into power through the voting, where women come into politics and the power. That has not happened. Though the voting right was implemented in 1947, 1950 time itself. But it is only the late, in the last few years, some more empowerment practices like the right to zero FIR, Like, where do you want to choose the police station? You can choose. Right against being stalked by or posed by, holded by the people, police. All these can be. Women cannot be arrested at night. And sexual victims have got the liberty not to disclose their identity. Anybody who discloses are liable to the court. The virtual complaints, that one digital advantage could be that women have the credit of giving virtual complaints. But though a country like India and Pakistan has these powers, 2018 the news reports from Pakistan says in the last 40 years a significant number of women voters came to vote. And this report came in 2018. That means it's only last 30 years, in the 70 years of independence, Pakistan women started coming little out into politics for voting. Though we had a prime minister in Pakistan as a woman, but very rarely people come into politics. Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, and most of the studies about the Central Asian studies are done by one of the institute called the Central Institute of Asian Institute in America. I heard them propagating that educating a girl is changing the world. Their statistics says that it is not that well as one could expect. The education news from Afghanistan is in the recent past itself is very bad. In the last year, what has happened in Afghanistan is well known to all of us. The Taliban war against girls, Taliban war on girls, that is how they name it. Students between 7 to 12 years, girls, children between 7 to 12 years missed their opportunity to attend colleges, schools. The humanitarian rights, 95% of the country's 38 million people are not having sufficient food. They are in poverty, sinking deeper and deeper economic. Who will suffer? Ultimately, it is all the girl child who will suffer in the long run. The cyber crime is one of the biggest trap in the digital scenario. The digital trap for many women, it could be many institutions, many people who are working in the dark, like Clubhouse, chat, Instagram, Facebook, videos, the blackmailing, bullying, morphing, playing with videos. With the superficial knowledge, not deep into the professional content. If somebody is using, like in India, I was telling, almost 48% of the people who are using mobile only for these sort of social interaction, which are very low level, which has no great quality in their life, not adding any educational value into their life. What are they using it for? And what will be the outcome of this? It costs their life. There are a lot of cases where digital bullying, identity is not shown, and then they get trapped into love affair. The life itself is lost for many people because they are digitally connected but not digitally qualified. So the offering of the digital world for women empowerment, unless they are educated and professionally qualified, will have a lot of problems. They need to have a logical common sense in using the digital platform so that they are not trapped. They are not into cyber crimes. I am well connected in the social media. I live with a lot of contacts through WhatsApp and Facebook and YouTube. You can see more than 3,500 videos of DrTPS with more than 6,500 subscribers. With all these contacts with a lot of countries around the world, generally, unless for very specific reasons, my phone is switched off from 10:30 p.m. to maybe early morning 9 o'clock. I don't access. The physical experience of always gives a feel of people getting into contact, like travel, making physical meeting with the people, having conferences. But you are in a small world with less of contacts. But the digital is a very big world, but it's a false world most of the time. So unless you take steps with a lot of care, where generally ladies have got more of emotional quotient, the heart is very good, therefore getting into trap becomes much easier. Unless you feel so great, unless you feel so easy, unless you can evaluate people, unless you don't get into the false of prestige, a false prestige. There are many organizations who awards, who give rewards, who give a lot of digital certifications and get people into the trap, get all the details, get contacts. Exploit them through making them to work without any remuneration. Ladies are used for marketing their business. You can see a lot of digital platforms in which no education is given, only certificates are given. And who are they generally used? They used a lot of ladies for these high qualified, maybe not qualified, but higher positions are given to project them as highly qualified. And then they are made to do the mean jobs by the so-called running institutions, by one of the, probably we don't know them. They only have a digital face. You don't know them personally. You don't know their history. Only what is projected and digital videos being circulated is the way you know them. So you become part of organizing, you become part of anchoring, you become part of the face for the institution where you have no idea about their identity. Unless you get educated, unless you have a means for getting education, unless you have the power to get a job which is paid for your skill and your ability, where you are confirmed that it is being used for a social cause. 10 children if you teach digitally, that is good enough. If my lecture gives a benefit for few people who are listening to me, then what I am doing is a social activity. If I am only copying from somewhere and then dumping it somewhere and then making marketing out of somebody's message, that is not digital knowledge. So people need to be very careful. If you want to perform, you need 3 things. One is attitude, one is skill, and one is environment. Digital environment, the neighborhood is wonderful, very good. And your attitude for serving the society, serving people for their betterment has to be what drives you to use this environment with your skill and your ability. And your skill and ability has to be certified by people who have got that ability to understand you, not fake people. So the digital world is a big trap. Unless you are having that social commitment where you think, yes, I have done my job, earned enough, I am not hunting for a job, I am doing a social service for the betterment of the society, probably yes, you can be part of such a system. Like me, I am a retired person from Government of India, I am a pensioner. I don't have to earn by doing this. The rest of my life I am supposed to serve the society, and that is what I am doing. We have got Brahmacharyam, Garhasthyam, Vanaprastham and Sannyasam. Once you finish, then the service to the society is what is prescribed by Bharatiya Shastra. We should understand. Digital world is a false world. Digital world can do more crime, more cheating, more troubles to you, and it is funny and interesting to get lot of certifications, lot of gimmick colorful things, but it doesn't serve any one individual who is using it. Then ask a question, is it that what I want to do? Many people waste a lot of time on this. So I think digital empowerment for women is a good strategy, but that need to give them empowerment through employment, through economic benefit, and through knowledge generation, professional knowledge generation, not popularity, false popularity. Most of the social media activities gives you a false popularity which doesn't have a real followers, but you are in a trauma of oh, we can say it is the followers mania, or maybe the like mania, okay, the comment mania. We want subscribers, we want people to follow, provided you have got sufficient knowledge to give to others. Get into that sort of a life so that whatever you do become useful to the society. Great Namaskaram. I think the OXFAA University gave me a forum to think in this line, which I never could imagine, and the dropping of this program in between and then falling short of my continuation in the lecture online on the platform gave me an option to speak much longer, and I thought I must use that facility because some thoughts were coming into the mind and I must use it. So thank you, Namaskaram. God bless each one of you.